This podcast is best heard with headphones.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the talk of the house. Do you guys know the previous episode you guys clipped? So I had to cut you guys off on that part because I couldn't do anything to get rid of that very high pitch.
You could have asked me.
You could have lowered down.
It's a shame.
I did,
we did
but
this time.
I could hear distortion.
Oh.
It still it distorted and like even I lowered down to like
Next time we
very
should.
low. Like, we're like oh there, like
Yeah,
they know what you mean.
They can hear what the depth.
Oh that.
Proximity.
Oh
Yes,
okay,
yes.
alright, makes sense. So Moon is eating.
I'm actually hungry.
Can hear this.
ASMR.
It's like mukbang, Singapore version.
I heard mukbang.
Mukbang. Better I say makbung, right? Okay, so guys, welcome back to the 8th episode of the Talk with the House. And it has been a really long, 10 plus weeks
Man.
trying to record episodes. And the past few episodes have been very deep and very hard to talk about. And still is.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I know you guys already know this, but today's episode we're going to be talking about the types of discrimination in Singapore at least, and talk about hate speech in Singapore. Whoa, what the hell? Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys a simple question. What is discrimination to you in general?
Well, to me, discrimination would be just mistreating others lah. Treating people differently just because of a specific trait that they might possess.
Like what?
Like race, gender, whatever lah. You know, see someone different and then you're like, I hate you.
Oh, why?
I don't know. I don't hate you.
Oh my
I love
god, Syazwan.
I'm sorry. I'm just weird. Mashita, what is discrimination to you?
Same thing lah.
Don't
But for
copy me.
I think discrimination is more of like bullying that person without like a proper reason.
Because of?
Without a proper reason.
Oh.
You just say that. Too distracted by the food, eh? So what about you, Moon? With your mouth full.
Sorry, this is so inappropriate. I'm eating. What discrimination is to me is that it's not okay. It's like bullying and mistreating people because they belong to a certain group. That's discrimination to me, lah. Yeah. Sorry, because I'm thinking of an example right now. Because for example, my family members, they actually don't like
I'm not
Filipinos.
Headphones, but I can hear everything.
I'm so sorry. They don't like Filipinos in particular, but yeah.
I feel you. My parents also.
Yeah, which I don't really understand why. Okay, maybe because
I understand why, but at the same time, like, I don't understand why.
Well,
yeah,
that makes
no,
sense.
It depends,
Okay.
it depends on which group of Filipinos they come from. Because like the meat kind of Filipinos, she doesn't like it. But when it comes to like the rich, like those Filipinos who come here to learn, like our friends, like our Filipino friends, they're like, my mom's like, oh.
And she doesn't like the ones that take our jobs and all that,
No,
right?
no, she doesn't mind,
Oh.
but she just don't like the way, the presence, the like, you know,
I know.
having Filipinos around. So like to
Every
me,
time there's one, my mother's like, alamak, tengoklah dia punya kuih lapis ni semua dia. Okay. They didn't even do anything.
Wow.
yeah, exactly. That's the part I'm like, calm Calm down.
Yeah, my father always tells me not to get involved with Malay people.
You got involved in 3 Malay people right now.
Unfortunately, you'll be disappointed right now.
Unfortunately, excuse me.
Like he always tells me like, oh, Chinese people are best because they always learn and study and all. But I don't
Only
think
that part
that's
lah.
always
Only that
true. Yeah, stereotypes But what to do, right, Indian Sorry.
For me, my mom just say like, don't hang around with the wrong people.
Yeah,
She doesn't
my
like
parents say that
specify your
too.
race or anything. She just say
I see.
Don't
Gangster.
Yeah.
Oh well.
like she just like don't hang around like gangster people or whatever. I mean it's a group lah, but it's not really.
Yeah, but you gangster already, so.
No, I'm not a gangster. Okay, please shut up.
That's true.
Shut up.
That's
I'm not a
true.
gangster. Okay. I know your first impression of me was gangster, but please. Okay, for me, discrimination, right? It's actually pretty much like what the 3 of you said. Hating a certain group of people, treating them differently just because of who they are. Like for example, like you said just now, Singaporeans don't like the people who come to Singapore and take our jobs. Actually, that's a part of discrimination too, because it's not just a specific race, but it's a what is it under? It's like foreigners. You discriminate against foreigners because he's taking my job, he's taking our jobs. Well, you don't want to work as a freaking cleaner or whatever, right? It's your fault. Which actually I want to talk about for like a second here. If you guys don't want to do the job that the government gives you or like offers you, then other people come to Singapore and take that job, but for some reason you blame them for coming in to get that job. I mean, we should be blaming ourselves for not trying, like starting from the bottom at least, and then work our way up to the top. That's how it works. That's how it should work. We shouldn't like complain and like worm our way back up to the higher stages of employment. You know what I mean?
It's because we are Singaporeans.
Yeah, we are so. That's because you have a diploma. We think we should.
Money face.
We should start as a CEO for some reason.
yeah.
I know.
Unless you are really starting up your own business, then
Yeah.
obviously you're the CEO of
Yeah, I
your
mean-
own company lah. But
But who will pay you?
Yeah.
yourself.
Yourself.
Yes.
Why did I agree to
Self-employment.
that? Oh my god.
Flashback to yesterday, profits and loss.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, I hate that.
Let's just don't talk about
Although
that.
I took POA, I didn't understand a thing that he said because I'm sorry.
But that's
Whatever I learned,
isn't that accounting?
yeah, but
It's
someone
not
made
like
me
you're gonna do accounting,
confused.
though. Who knows? You start your own business, your own studio.
Yeah, exactly why we need accounting.
Huh?
Why did you?
Because I know who she's gonna open a studio with. Wink, wink.
It's a home studio.
Sure,
Everyone
sure.
can come. It's for free.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Have you guys witnessed, like personally, any form of discrimination? Doesn't have to be race. Doesn't have to be like any form of discrimination. Moon, Miss Goody Two Shoes, Miss sheltered from discrimination.
No, that's not me. This actually.
I
bet
see
you've
the
never-
examples.
You've never been discriminated before, have you?
No. Because, okay, why am I so bad at answering all these questions? Because I'm the very neutral kind of person. Like, everyone, I'm not bragging, everyone likes me, but
Wow.
I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, like, I know how to get on the good side of people. I don't want to, like, go on their bad side to the point that discriminate me or, like, you know, draw that line between me and that person. So, like, whichever race I'm friends with, I'm usually, like, my relationship with that person is good. I don't have that discrimination thing lah, because in my head, stereotypes are stereotypes until you know that person yourself. Then you're like, oh wait, stereotypes can be stereotypes, but they are not a part of that stereotype. You get what I mean? Yeah, that's how I don't think I've ever experienced discrimination.
Such a sheltered little kid.
I am not. It's like, okay, I'm not sheltered. to be very honest, you go to school, you go have friends like in different races, right? The way for me to not like get into that discrimination section is to never discriminate them. Is to talk to them, understand them.
Wise.
Like even if you know there's this stereotype in your head, right? You know, like, oh, Chinese are so smart, like they can get A's and all. No. Malays also can get A's, okay? Come on. I got it before. I got top 2.
And me too in primary school.
Give me 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't like, you know, those stereotypes. Yeah, the stereotypes can be in your head, but like you have to experience it yourself. Then you know. Yeah.
Wise words from Miss Munirah.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, growing up back then, at least, I don't know about you guys, but growing up back then, we had like this idea of looking down on Indians.
Wow.
Or seeing
Thanks.
Indians as a separate, like, I don't want to say anything like terrible, but back then it was like, Malay okay, Chinese okay, Indians they like,
Why though?
when you walk around like, oh, Indians confirm construction worker, like, that kind of shit.
Oh my god.
It was that period of time where it's that serious, like, oh, Indians construction worker.
Hey, those are Bangladesh
No.
people, okay?
No, that was back then.
Yeah,
Okay, that
okay.
was
I get it.
people back then were narrow-minded. Weren't even thinking of the big picture, because not only Indians or Bangladesh construction workers, there are Chinese people, there are Malay people who are construction workers. So because of that, I grew up, but at least in primary school or halfway into secondary school, I kind of looked down. I kind of stayed away from Indian people. No, it was,
Even if it's your friends?
my classmates, I do talk to them, but because I grew up in that like society, I kind of like tried to stay away from them. I regretted doing that because I could have gotten like actual good friends. I mean, I do have good friends, but more friends. Like, I never really get to know those people because I had that mentality. So yeah, so me, unfortunately, I kind of discriminated against.
Rude.
My bad. I do regret it. I mean, it's not a huge discrimination. I mean, it's just
the mindset.
yeah, it's
because
just
of
the mindset.
stereotype, right?
Yeah, just because of people telling me, Indians, confirm construction worker. Don't what? How to say? Don't
mingle with them.
yeah,
and
don't
shit.
mingle with them or anything. It's not my family who say it, but it's other people who say.
Yeah,
Even
I think
online
it's-
people. Yeah. And that really affects, especially because young people are so impressionable.
That's true.
Anything you say, they think
Yeah, they'll believe it,
Yeah,
like.
they will like believe it. Like say, oh, Thanos killed half of the people in the universe. In this universe, really?
Oh my lord.
But it's just a freaking movie, right?
Yeah.
But they will actually believe it. I mean, not that to that level, that's exaggeration, but you get what I'm trying to say,
Yes,
yeah.
kinda.
So yeah, that's my discrimination story.
Alright.
How about you, Ashraf? Have
Okay.
you been discriminated before?
Okay lah. I'll be honest. Like, we live in Singapore. I feel like this is quite a racially harmonious society. So I haven't had that many experiences, but many. That means there are some lah. You know? I remember in primary school, there was this one random Chinese guy while I was peeing in the toilet.
Oh my gosh.
I was just peeing and then this dude just, hey, you Indian ah? And I'm like, huh? And then he ran off. Then I'm like, what just happened? I'm just trying to take a piss here. And this dude called me an Indian. I mean, I am lah.
Wait, so you say just pissing one day, like what some Chinese kid
Yeah,
goes up to you,
in like
hey,
primary
you
2.
Indian, he runs away, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that confused me lah. But that's not the only story. That's just a minor story. But then like in secondary school, there was this one kid that almost every day I see him and he's my classmate. He'll be like, hey, why you so black? And I just don't know how to respond. I don't know. So I'm like, yeah, I'm black. Awkwardly,
Did
I'm
you
kind
say
of
it in
shy.
such like a offensive manner?
Kind of like he like abing type, you know. So he has that kind of voice. And like you always say
Should
like
I have said to
Olang
him?
Kichu, which means
Ani.
black people raise hands. So every time he does that, he says that I have to raise my hand now. And
Why do you follow him
I
then?
don't know. He's actually a nice guy, although he's weird. Like he always belanja me KFC, but I'm not that close to him though. But so I don't know why he does that. But
So why not?
I
Just
nice
think
of him,
he's
ah.
It's a free
just
KFC,
being
just-
yeah,
kind,
just take it
yeah.
lah.
Yeah.
So like there are some weird stories I have, but none of them went further than that lah. You know, verbal I can take lah, like it's okay, but it might be in good fun. I don't know, but as long as they don't beat me, I think I'm okay with it lah. Yeah, just don't touch me, I know you hate Indians,
I know. How dare you? that was a long time ago. Okay.
Alright.
How about you, Mashita?
I don't have, but
See, I'm not the only one.
my parents always like my mother she told me, girl, you don't marry Malay can you
That's your own race.
You don't very Malay, can?
You don't marry Malay.
Marry.
because she say Malay problem then she say you look at your father lah, like
Oh
I mean
man.
I also want to marry Chinese but logically it's difficult right. So then she say but anything just don't marry Indian, Pakistani, Arab. Just don't marry those. Then I say why Then she say cause you know they a bit difficult later nanti you marry them, then after that I cannot see you anymore.
Oh.
Wait, why?
Cause they are usually the type like, especially Arabs I think, like if you get married to them, a husband if you get a husband there, they would just keep you at home. They won't let you out.
What?
And that's from real experience. Like her friend. So she told me not to get married to an Arab. That's for one. Pakistani, she said okay lah, about the same so don't marry them Then she said Indians also, Indians they will keep you, then after that nanti they bantai you, so dah like
Was that from a real life experience too?
that one I don't know, but yeah, that's what she said. So I was like confused at the same time, like okay, I don't think I'm planning to get married to an Indian unless
okay lah.
Asyraf here glows up or something.
Glows up.
Ouch.
Hey, I'll be honest, like that's a bit true lah. Even with my parents, that kind of happens
They say that.
No, but like my father himself is
Beats
kind
him,
of.
not ask him to grow up.
He's kind of restrictive when it comes to my wife lah. My mother.
That scared me. I'm like, what? Ashraf's married? No, he didn't even invite us.
Yeah, I eloped, guys. But yeah, like my father won't let my mom go out readily. Like, you know, she needs to get permission. She needs to declare like 2 weeks in advance. 2 weeks? No lah, just kidding lah. But it's very hard for her. Yeah, it's very hard for her to convince my father lah. So I think it's a bit true lah. Yeah.
Is that like a tradition?
I don't know. I think my father is just more. Yeah, maybe it's more how traditional Indians work lah.
yeah.
Like my father is the type where, the husband is superior. You know, the wife must take orders from the husband. Or
I
that.
see.
Yeah, it happens.
It's a very military household.
Yeah, man.
Will you be like that though?
What?
Will you be like
Look
that?
at him. Do you think he's
Maybe.
gonna restrict me?
I don't think I can restrict my wife if I had one.
I
You
think
know, like-
Mashita.
I love how he looks at Mashita first before saying my wife. I'm like, this is the best matchmaking session me and Syazwan has ever done.
I think if your mom meets Asyraf, I think your mom will be like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
She will like it,
She'll
but
be
then
like, why is he an Indian?
she'll,
told you.
she'll probably like you, but then she's like, huh? Di India? And then she will be like, tak boleh.
Emphasize on the Muslim.
Muslim.
Muslim part.
Muslim.
It's his Muslim part of his.
Office.
What is
I just
happening?
started on my words, guys. Okay.
Office.
Anything else?
Let me think. No, but recently I think not recently. There was a long time ago. I of course lah. My Twitter is my source, so I read some stuff like people don't want to hire Malay cause they lazy, but people want to hire Chinese cause they smart. Then I saw a lot of comments about that. Cause I honestly there are both types of people in both races. It's just most Malays are lazy. but
I
you
can vouch
do-
for that.
Yeah, but I mean they are lazy, but they can be rajin. They can be
Yeah.
hardworking when they want to. It really depends on people lah. But that's all. I think that's the most I've seen. Other than Bangladeshis and Indians getting discriminated all the time in trains, and that one time, this one guy sat down in the MRT and he got like people were taking photos of him in the train just because he was sitting down or something.
Why?
I don't know. That's how discrimination
Like
is.
on a normal seat, chair, not like reserved seat.
Mm.
Oh my god.
That's why I say like people discriminate without proper reason.
Since we're talking about MRT, right? I hate the reserved seating.
I do. It's like an
Yeah.
excuse for
Yeah,
old
it's
people.
not. The thing is like, it's actually at first it's fine, but then it gives like old people like those like
This entitlement.
yeah, it gives them this this entitlement, and they think that some way better than us. So this is our reserved seating. Like this is one time, right? I was sitting on reserved seating. I always sit on reserved seating because like
Because we're gangster.
no.
It's always the one
It's
that's
the corner
empty.
one, right?
Is it?
Yeah, that and because there's a panel.
Yeah,
I like to
that one.
I like to lie on it because it's comfortable lah. I don't lie on under people, right? So it's so weird to do that. But I was sitting there, right? Then this is the life. This. Oh my god, my English.
This.
This uncle, he's old lah, of course lah. Then he came up to me and he's like, boy, this is for reserved seating for old people lah. If he had asked me, he asked like very, how to say like he's scolding me for some reason. But the thing is, if you ask me nicely, I would give him a seat because it is for people who's old or who needs a seat. So I'll give him the seat if he wants it, if he needs it. So if you ask me nicely, I will give it to him. But apparently, this chair gave him that entitlement and made him like scold me for no reason. And then like I was so pissed off. I stood up. He sat down. And then I scolded him.
What did you say?
Oh.
I didn't really scold him. I was like, I told him, if you want this seat, I can ask nicely, right? Then he just kept quiet.
Good.
Because I have mutual respect for elderly people.
Of course.
Until they disrespect you.
Until they disrespect you. Because like, you're not even my elderly in the first place, but it's, you want to teach respect to youth, to young people, and people always look up to the elderly for any wisdom or for any advice because they're older, they have more experience. But if they become such assholes, then it's hard lah. It's hard to respect people when they don't show you the same. That applies to every factor in the world. Like even if you're old, even if you're gay, even if you're retarded. Oh my god.
Oh, that's
I mean,
rude.
true, you
Yeah.
have to give
Yeah.
equal respect
Yeah,
to everyone.
they say that respect is like a two-way street, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
there's one side and another side. Like you can't just like expect to be given respect just because of your age or something like that.
Exactly. It's our society's like emphasis on the elderlies first that gives them the entitlement that they are better than us, which we should emphasize on the fact that we are all equals instead of one is better than another. If that makes sense, So yeah. So that was the first time I scolded an elderly guy.
Can I add on?
Yeah.
There was once I was taking the MRT and like you said lah, always this time the MRT had a lot of old people. Like there's these few stations you will see a lot of old people.
Yeah.
So I was sitting down and I wasn't at the reserved seat Then like a few people started getting up to give the elderly people a seat, and I was like, should I stand up? Should I? No, but there's a reserved seat for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna sit here. But then the person beside me went up, and like beside me is the reserved seat. So one person went up, and I was like pressurized. Then this old man stood in front of me, and I was like, Then I act like I was asleep.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Because it was a long way. And then like you could see like the front of me, like the whole row was like just elderly people sitting down.
Is it like-
And they look so smart. They were doing like and I was okay, no, I'm not gonna give my seat.
Is it like those hospital area
I don't
station?
know.
Is it like Novena or? Because I know because
It was near there.
yeah, because I always go to Novena with my mom for her appointments. So every time we get off of that train, there'll be a lot of elderly people coming in, because they are from the hospital, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm pretty sure there's always these SMRT people. They will always enter and always ask the young people to stand
give up their
and give
seat.
up the
Yes.
seats. Because obviously, there's a lot of elderly people and you can't sit there because they are elderly.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean the elderly people can get entitlement lah. But it's just courtesy, yeah, of the SMRT person also. They are doing their job, so like okay. Because that happened to me before when I went out on a date, and I wasn't sitting down. I was standing up, and then there's this a whole
You're
group
standing
of
on your
elderly.
date?
Huh?
You're standing on your date.
No, in the train. I was in the train. I was on a date. Then I was in the train with that person. We were
So
standing
just
out
your
lah.
boyfriend,
Yeah,
right?
my boyfriend. Then we were just standing out. We were talking. Then suddenly we stopped at this one station. These two SMRT person came from like from the door, and then they not shouted like but said firmly to the people who sat down on the chairs and to give up the seats. And I'm like, cool, okay, doing a great job. I mean, basic courtesy lah. It's what we learn on the reserve seat to always give the people there first. So yeah.
But also like, I mean, if the reserve seat is empty and you don't see an elderly,
Yeah, you can
then just
actually sit
lah.
on it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's reserved for the people you see.
Yeah.
It's right there, right in front of you. So yeah, it's fine to sit, but
And then you see one elderly coming to you looking at you. And
yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, calm down.
That's when you pretend to sleep. That's the best part.
Yeah, I wonder who did that.
Hey, but I wasn't at the reserve seat, okay?
No,
Okay,
you
okay.
just stuff things in your, then you just pretend you're pregnant.
Got a watermelon or something.
Watermelon.
It's just good thing we talk about this MRT thing because entitlement gives people room to discriminate.
Yes.
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 Such a good
Oh my
transition,
gosh.
guys.
Oh my gosh, yes.
One prime example,
Prime.
I'm not saying that it's all of them, but one prime example, it's the rich people looking
And
down
me.
on. Huh?
And you?
You're rich?
You're rich?
No, rich people looking
No wonder you
at
start
me.
like her. Okay, rich people looking down on people who are poorer, lah, eh?
Like
Especially
who's
them.
not at the same par as them.
Yeah, not in the same level as them. Here we are living in like HDB blocks while they're living in like some landed
Landed
estates,
shit,
like such big houses. Have you guys watched
High SES.
Crazy Rich Asian?
Yes.
No.
No, god damn it, you guys.
Sorry.
My
I watched
aunt is
it
a crazy
with
rich.
my boyfriend. We were like, oh yeah, you remember that time I asked you which one we should watch, and then you're like Crazy Rich. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that one.
I made you watch it, so I don't have to watch it.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, what a way to like.
Yeah. It was good actually. It was.
Really?
It's okay. Although it's about only Chinese people, but
Hmm.
it's the discrimination between.
Rich and
Actually,
poor.
it's more of like not just that. It's more of like the ideology, like knowing that she's from another country, and then the Singaporean rich Asian is like because they have different mindsets. Because in the US they are like very free, like they are open to things, but in Singapore their mindset is more of like you have to restrict to something. Like they're just narrow-minded lah. So that's like one discrimination.
Yeah,
between.
the guy's family was so they wanted him to marry like a girl inside a rich family, like
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
they're still inside the rich kind of zone lah.
Of course.
But the girl was from US and she was also from her mother came from Singapore. It's a fictional story. Her mother was from Singapore, but she was from a very poor family. So that's why the guy's mother really don't want him to marry her lah. And shit happens, which is actually pretty much discriminating against, like, you know, it's like they think that we poor people are worse people, you know. It's like they think we can't afford for ourselves. I mean, yeah, there are people who can't afford the luxuries that we middle income families have, but we still can, you know, maintain ourselves. Can say maintain ourselves, and we're not. It's like, it's just bad to see the gap between rich families and poorer families, because it segregates the house, if you know what I mean. It divides the country into two different two different houses, let's say.
That sounds like Korea. Sounds like
North Korea and South Korea.
Although they're from Korea, but they're different.
I mean, you guys know what I mean lah. It's like what Abraham Lincoln have said: a house divided can never stand.
I have never heard that.
Are you serious? You've heard that?
Abraham Lincoln, man.
You should Google that later.
He's famous.
I know,
Oh shit!
but I've never heard any of his quotes before, so I'm like, oh, okay. Are
So,
you
yeah.
literally Googling it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Mashita always Googles on the spot.
Marsha?
Mashita.
Oh, I heard Marsha and I'm like, why is Marsha here?
Okay. Let's move on to hate speech. Let's talk about how discrimination and hate speech are. I'm sorry. Munirah is freaking smelling her own hand cream.
It's
And it's just so
nice.
weird.
It's black tea.
There's a time and place for everything.
Shoving the hand cream right in the nose, like.
Sweaty palms.
It's nice. It smells like
Ew.
black tea. I like it. Okay, going on.
Okay, how does discrimination and hate speech go hand to hand with each other? What a hard question, eh?
Yeah, I mean, like, because you discriminate someone, because you discriminate this particular group of people, that's where your hate speech, like, hate speech is like, you want to spread hate towards other, like, to your own people about this certain group of people. That's what I think hate speech is, like, in whatever context.
Context.
Yeah, in whatever context I hate
Context.
speech, you can. Sir, you're going a bit too far. Yeah, so that's what hate speech is lah. Apparently.
Well, I think hate speech is pretty much a more like, how to say, intense version of discrimination, because like when
Really?
for me lah, my opinion lah. Lama, it's not factual, right?
I asking, right?
I think hate speech is pretty much like when you really like show hate to that person. Like really show hate. For example, like let's say last time I look down on Indians but that no fair. Asyraf is so sad. But it's not like I said like fuck Indians or Indians should die. That's hate speech in a way. Like it's a more intense version of discrimination. So that's what I think like separates the two words lah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like discrimination is more personal. Yeah, maybe like I'm sure all of us have our own like prejudices. You know, we discriminate in some small little ways. But I think hate speech is when you project that your thoughts, when you actually preach it to other people or like to impose it on someone, like straight up just because of your own personal discriminations and whatnot. Like, and that's where I draw the line. Like, you know, I discriminate. I'm not gonna lie here and there, but I'm never gonna impose it on anyone. Lah, I'll just keep it to myself, and it'll be a grave secret. Yeah.
Be a secret till we die, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I guess hate speech is more of like your own attack towards others, whereas discrimination is more towards like a whole group. Because usually, like if you see people attacking someone, like they only attack that one person, but they never attack the others. What am I saying? So, but like discriminate is like you just avoid that person most of the time. You just don't like that person. You don't talk to that person, and it can like I think some discrimination can go to intense, but hate is like really dedicated to that. So I think that's what's the difference is.
Something like they become. Okay, let's after talking about what we think defines the both things, let's talk about the prime example of hate speech and discrimination, which is Americans discriminating against Muslims.
That one a bit stupid that one. It's logical. You think about it. Muslim is Muslim. ISIS is ISIS.
But they don't think it that way.
Yeah.
Because they are stupid.
Because they think, okay, the thing is
Controversial.
ISIS is a part
I've
of
started
Muslim.
something here.
It's just that they don't see that there's a good side of Muslim people, like Islamic.
And they have
People.
the nerve to say that Americans have good and bad. Then what about Muslim? Hello, sister. Logic.
I've started something here. Oh my god.
Hello,
Okay.
sister.
I think what I think is right is this type of people right diehard Americans it's the best way I can describe it they don't really think with their brain, they think with their emotions or their heart or whatever. Us as human beings, we always need to find something to blame something for.
True.
Especially when we think from our hearts, or think from our act from our emotions, we always find something to blame for something else to blame for. Like, it's pretty loud. Like for example, I ate a chocolate bar and it's gone. I want more. What do you do?
Wow.
I ate a chocolate bar and it's missing, but I'm stupid. I want more chocolate bar, and I blame you for eating it when I ate it. It's like, it's a stupid mentality, but then I understand why people discriminate against. I guess in that context, discriminate against us, the whole religion as like terrorists or whatever, because those people, I mean, they lost their families and their friends, and the terrorist groups themselves like do that in the in God's name or whatever. So why complicate it, and why not just make it easier just to blame the whole religion? Give a face for that terror, because it's easier to just blame one whole group of people instead of specific people, because when you're emotional, you don't think that much.
Yeah.
You're just, you know what? Why?
And I find that most okay, maybe not most, but a lot of Americans tend to blame things on people easily. Like they don't think twice until they get attacked, then they think twice about, oh wait, that's right, that kind of thing. That's like, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like Americans, because they are like that. They are first narrow-minded, most of them, most narrow-minded. They think their free speech applies to everyone, especially to other countries when it's only in their countries. 3, they say their opinions are like they can say their opinion because it's free, right? And then but
They can
then
say
they
whatever
cannot,
they want,
yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
cannot accept other people's opinions. And like I said just now, they blame people easily, but when they get attacked, they get angry.
Yeah, it's like free speech, but only when it's convenient for them, lah. Basically.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think in Singapore, because we don't have free speech. It's people,
Probably, yeah.
Because we can't do
well.
free speech.
Yeah.
It's illegal in Singapore.
but
You're gonna get
I think because of that, we always think before we
Yeah.
say something, because we don't want to
Yeah.
get in trouble, right? Yeah. So like in Singapore, you don't have free speech. So like, let's say you say something that's something bad about religion, then you don't get sued for it, you know.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we don't have free speech is why we think first before we talk.
Yeah, because like in Singapore, everyone's going through the same thing,
Mm.
no matter which group you come from. That's why we're like, oh wait, this person is probably going through the same thing as me, so I rather not like do the same thing towards that person lah. So yeah, that's the thing about okay Americans, right? I love Americans who are actually they are mixed. Like for example, they're Asian but they live in America. Then they're the kind of people who's not really narrow-minded because they
They came
understand.
from both,
They came from both sides and they understand like both like opinions, I guess. That's why they're like very neutral, like how
The mixed are
we
okay.
all-
It's just the pure ones.
the really pure Americans. We are very sorry, but we sometimes don't really like your narrow-mindedness. So we're
But
like,
there are some that are really good. Like I've seen like quite a few like very rare Americans who actually talk nicely, and accept other people's opinions, and
It's getting better, but slowly, it's getting better.
slowly, yeah.
at least it's okay lah.
But you know, we still understand why they say what they say. You know, some people lost their families, but even some of those people who lost families don't actually blame the whole religion. Some of them are. But you know, as an American, as a nation, we can understand why you blame. How easy it is to blame one whole group for it, you know. So yeah.
that's like Japanese occupation.
Japanese occupation.
Yeah, like, you know, our ancestors all they go through Japanese occupation, then they all like, oh, I hate Japanese people, up until now. But
But people do that.
I don't know. Maybe some people are like that because they go
I
through
love Japanese.
like some war. But for me, for my case, my granddad, he can speak Japanese. He had a good friend who's a Japanese. Yeah, and
I think it applies to the Muslim ISIS thing also lah.
yeah, it's,
There are
yeah.
those who do that, and there are those who are actually nice.
Yeah. So moral of the story: don't blame the whole region for it. And don't carry out hate speech just because you don't like a certain group or something.
I think the problem is like they need to stop being very ignorant lah. You need to
Yeah.
learn to educate yourself and like understand from all perspectives lah. And by doing that, I think like there'll be more harmony in the world.
I mean,
Like in our
if there
society.
are Americans who are listening, don't take it the wrong way, because in Singapore there are
Yeah,
also
there's-
ignorant
yes,
people.
Of course.
And there are
A
like
lot.
a very, I mean not a lot, but very small group of people who actually do
A lot. I'm
discriminate. A lot. Hey, do this. I mean, yeah, half of the people in Singapore do discriminate silently
And unconsciously also.
and unconsciously. Yeah, I do that sometimes. It's a flaw that we have. You know, it's our beliefs that make us discriminate. So yeah, before we end this podcast, do you guys have anything else to add on, or?
If we have offended you in any way, please apologize. Please apologize.
Ask them to apologize.
Please forgive us. Unless they are the facts, like what I said just now. They are the facts. But if I have unjustly offended anyone, then yes, I'm sorry.
We all are.
Yeah, if you have something to say, just post down in the comments below. You know, speak your mind. Don't
Speak man.
speak your mind, and I'll share with the whole podcast. I mean, the whole cast. You know, I'm sure a girl named Rin has been commenting the past 3 episodes.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Wow, we have a fan.
Yeah.
Yay.
and also like very long comments. Like, whoa.
Wow.
Really? Let me
Okay,
Yeah.
we will check that later.
Yeah, so yeah, if you guys have anything to say to us, to tell us, if you have anything to disagree on, just put it down in the comments below. Or if you want it to remain anonymous, just email us. The email is in the description. And so yeah, if you have nothing else to disagree on, just speak your mind what hate speech and discrimination is. And if you haven't, like and subscribe. And I guess that's it for today.
Yay.
I'm sorry for the short episode, but we're on a tight schedule.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So yeah, bye.
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 Bye.